a while working with poor people up there, and I like to just work with a lot of, poor folks and stuff like that, and help spread the word around and stuff. I'm into writing music, so I'll write a lot of songs about it and stuff like that.
Do you intend to stay on the farm when you're older?
Pretty much. I definitely intend to be a part of it. I don't know if I'm going to stay on this particular piece of land right here, but...
Pretty much, like out in the city and stuff, it's hard. It's hard to do what you want to do because a lot of times people think you're weird, if you think that you want to change something different from what everybody else does. Yeah. You can come here pretty much and do what you want.
Is the farm a place that you think you want to stay for the rest of your life, or do you have visions of going out and doing something a little bit different when you leave?
Not really. Not really. I want to do this same thing. I want to travel around, and get different ideas, but I want to carry on the same thing that I learned here.
You can carry the farm with you, just go out and, maybe see the world some and do stuff and think the way we think here, and that's, good too, and then come back when you're ready to come back.
Have you guys had much of a chance to mix with other teenagers since you go to school here on the farm? And a lot of your social life was on the farm. Do you get that much of a chance to mix with the kids from other backgrounds, walks of life?
Sure.
They come here.
We travel a lot, and a lot of people come through here. A lot of teenagers who need a home, in sanctuary or something like that.
Well, in that you've had some exposure with kids outside the farm, how would you characterize the difference between the teenagers here and teenagers on the outside?
I'd say we're a lot more peaceful, because we all grew up in this background which is real peaceful and doesn't believe in violence or ripping each other off or anything like that. We're all COs, and I think we're a lot less influenced and also see a lot more in what's happening and see how people are getting influenced and head caught by what's going out there and all the violence and everything that they're all getting influenced by. I think we're a lot more free thinkers, that we can see a lot more. We can see more of the problems and stuff.
Catherine, what are some of the biggest concerns that you have right now as a teenager? Most important things in your life?
Actually, I'm just growing up and just trying to go through the changes of growing up, and just figuring out what I want to do. I haven't really figured out what I want to do with my life yet. So I'm trying out different things, I'm going to, just try out different things on the farm. There's different, there's so much happening on the farm that you can go to different, projects that are happening, like silk screening or the studio, and just, check it out and see what you want to do, and that way you can just go around the farm and find a job that you like, and then just get into that and learn something. So if I want to go out, off the farm, I'll have, a skill.
Let me get back into, you say that right now that you live, 2 or 3 families in a house? 4 families?
Yeah.
How many?
It depends. Just on how big the house is.
Okay, but you right now, you live with about 20 people, right?
Yeah.
And that's about how many families?
3 families and single people and kids.
Do you consider just one big giant family and a happier and bigger family?
You gotta pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you consider all of the other people that maybe aren't in your immediate family just as much as your brothers and sisters as those that are in your family?
Sure.
Yeah.
And the way I treat them, I might not tell them where I'm going all the time. I might just check in with a certain person, but I don't, I treat them the same as I treat my parents, Just gotta have respect for everybody,
And not just think about yourself. You can't just think about yourself living on the farm. You gotta respect how other people feel and what they think, too.
I don't know, it's like a happy family, it's like a big family. I'm just trying to get to know everybody so I can, because they're like part of my family. Because we all try and think the same way, you know what I mean? We try and think, just about, we like to have the same kind of views of the world. That's why we're sort of, why we're here, because, we believe that the people, come first before, profit or whatever, before, the companies, it's like the companies just don't care about the people. I don't know how to explain it.
You really learn
it's the money they care about.
Yeah.
You really learn how to work it out with the person, and figure out ways where you can sit down and talk something out, without getting into a fight or anything. we're all pacifists, you know, so we all believe in pacifism and all oppose the draft and against the war and everything. And she's, you know, like most of the people all here all have the same ideals, you know. That makes it really easy to live together, you know. And if someone came here who was really violent and so on, you know, they'd have to change or else leave.
Yeah.
You're a dynamo, you're a transformer.
Making a community like this is like trading in you have to give up a certain amount of private ego to live this close. And that's good for you, even. But if you just trade that in on a corporate ego and assume a corporate ego, you won't make any gain. And we realized something like that after a few years, and so Plenty was to kick the hole out the other side so that we'll never be full.
There's plenty to go around, and there's people starving, and there's people impoverished. And there's a certain powerlessness that's perpetuated by the system, if you will, which makes people feel they cannot be individually significant in the greater part of the world. And we didn't feel that. We felt our collectiveness and the synergy of us as a community together gave us a little extra. And the principles that we had gave us a commitment to help our brothers out. And that began initially by helping our neighbors out. And the roots of Plenty really go back to that kind of hippie spirit of helping out that began back in the 60s. And when we brought it here, the form it took was helping the neighbors who wished help and not bothering the ones who wished to be well enough alone. Well, in 1976, after the earthquake, enough of us felt the impact of 1 million people homeless and 23,000 killed to really want to do something that was only as far away as Los Angeles. And current belief would have us think, what could we do? We're just individuals, a bunch of hippies out in the woods, what can the folks do? But we didn't buy any of that initially, but rather decided, look, if we have a will to help and we're really good-spirited at it and want to do it from a selfless place, that makes a good thing, and something will evolve from it. Our guys, when they went to Guatemala, it was interesting because if you imagine 3 hippies in a big box of tools with their backpacks, that was our international development team landing after the earthquake. And what that led to was a crew of folks who ended up being implemental in 12,000 homes being reconstructed, 12 schools, 4 clinics. But more than that, we started to get to know the people. And that's the thing I think perhaps that has made Plenty be vital to the heart of the farm, is that outreach has enabled us to meet people and get to know people who, like our neighbor Homer Sanders describes, why they just folks.
At first we used to just figure everything out with whoever happened to be standing around at the time when the problem came up. And that worked pretty good, kind of ad hoc committee, but was never the same one. It wasn't, didn't have a very good memory.
Right.
And then we said, okay, let's have a committee. We had a committee for a while, and then somebody said, we need a board of directors that's independent enough to act on its own. So we made one of those, and then we thought, calling it a board of directors is like wearing a top hat and tails. And that ain't what it is. It's a tribal council. And so then we realized that it was part of a tribal council. And we just recently, last year, we've been talking about it for about a year and just in action for a while, is the Council of Elders. Now, the Council of Elders, we hope for them to keep our ideals, you know, and to know what our progress is along our ideals, and to try to keep us from becoming expedient because we're broke, and that sort of thing.
Well, what are the ideals of the farm now at age 10?
Well, it all starts with a respect for life, you know, and a recognition that life and if there's anything that is sacred, it is related to life.
I think the simplest statement of it is the one we use. It's from the book of Acts, which goes something like, and all who were together and believed held all things to common, and in common imparted to each man as he had need.